Ever find yourself questioning why some big cities in the US seem to be losing their charm? Imagine living in a place that feels like it's stuck in time, with a population that's dwindling and opportunities that just don't seem to pop up. Why is nobody flocking to these once bustling urban centers? Is it the rising cost of living, lack of job opportunities, or maybe the weather's not playing nice? Let's find the 10 empty big cities in the US where people just aren't sticking around. And what's really behind the decline? Number 10. Tucson, Arizona. Tucson is one of the largest cities in the US by land area, spanning a staggering 241 square miles. But despite its size, it only has around 547,000 residents. That gives it one of the lowest population densities for a major US city. Imagine if Los Angeles only had 500,000 people. Yeah, Tucson feels that empty. So, what's going on? Well, Tucson is facing a housing crisis in reverse. While places like NYC are dealing with overcrowding, Tucson's issue is the opposite. Too much space and not enough people to fill it. In fact, there are entire neighborhoods with 20% or more of the houses sitting empty because nobody wants to live there. Here's another shocker. Despite being in Arizona, one of the fastest growing states in the US, Tucson is actually losing residents. From 2020 to 2024, the city's growth rate was just 0.4% per year, while Phoenix, just 2 hours away, was growing at 1.6% annually. The difference? Jobs. Phoenix has nearly 2.3 million jobs, while Tucson struggles with under 350,000. And if you're a tech worker, forget about it. The city isn't exactly a hub for high-paying industries. Weather is another issue. Tucson is one of the hottest cities in America. In the summer, temperatures regularly hit 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius. And in July 2023, the city broke records with 31 consecutive days over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius. It's basically a giant oven, and with water shortages becoming a concern, many families are choosing to leave while they still can. Crime? Yeah, there's a problem. The violent crime rate in Tucson is 835 per 100,000 residents, almost double the national average, 398 per 100,000. In some parts of town, locals joke about how leaving your car unlocked means saying goodbye to it. Number 9. Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri. This place is huge, 319 square miles. That's bigger than New York City and even Chicago. But while those cities are jam-packed, Kansas City has only 508,000 residents, meaning there's a ton of open space. Sounds peaceful, right? Well, not exactly. Kansas City is struggling with something called urban sprawl, where people move out of the city center and spread across a massive area. The downtown is full of stunning historic buildings, but many are completely empty. Fun fact: over 20% of downtown office spaces are vacant, and businesses are struggling to keep workers from moving away. Let's talk about crime. In 2023, Kansas City reported 33 homicides per 100,000 people, ranking it among the top 10 most dangerous cities in the US. That's higher than Chicago and even New Orleans. If that's not bad enough, the city has an average of 6,500 car thefts per year, making it one of the worst places for vehicle crime. Yikes. But maybe affordability is a good reason to stay. The median home price here is $235,000, almost half of the national average of $417,000. But even that isn't enough to attract new residents. Why? Well, the economy isn't booming, and Kansas City's job market is shrinking by 0.3% per year. Young professionals are skipping town for places like Dallas or Denver, where salaries are higher. So, what's the future of Kansas City? It might take years to fix, but right now, this giant city feels eerily underpopulated. Number 8. New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans, home to Mardi Gras, jazz, and some of the best food in America. But while tourists love it, locals are packing their bags and leaving in droves. Here's a shocking number. New Orleans had nearly 485,000 residents in 2005, before Hurricane Katrina. In 2024, just 357,767. That's a net loss of over 100,000 people in just 2 decades. What's driving them away? Well, a lot. First, flooding is a nightmare. Did you know that over 50% of New Orleans is below sea level? The city literally sinks about an inch every year. Combine that with stronger hurricanes due to climate change, and the place is becoming nearly unlivable. In 2021, Hurricane Ida caused $75 billion in damage, leaving over 1 million people without power for weeks. By 2050, experts predict that some parts of the city might be permanently underwater. That's terrifying. Then there's the crime rate, which is off the charts. In 2023, New Orleans had a violent crime rate of 1,360 per 100,000 residents, more than 3 times the national average. To put that in perspective, if you lived in New Orleans, you'd be more likely to be a victim of violent crime than in Chicago, New York, or even Detroit. And it's not just street crime. Carjackings increased by 165% between 2019 and 2023, making owning a car here feel like playing the lottery. You never know when it'll be gone. And let's talk about jobs. While tourism is strong, other industries are struggling. The unemployment rate is 7.1%, way higher than the national average of 3.9%. And even if you get a job, salaries are low. The average annual salary in New Orleans is just $48,000, while the cost of living keeps rising. For comparison, in Houston, the average salary is $64,000, and there's way more job stability. People are desperate to leave. In a 2024 survey, 46% of New Orleans residents said they wanted to move within 5 years. Number 7. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis has rich history, deep musical roots, and some of the best BBQ you'll ever eat. But you know what else it has? An emptying population, skyrocketing crime, and struggling infrastructure. In the last 5 years, over 35,000 people have left the city, and the reasons are pretty scary. First, let's address the elephant in the room: crime. Memphis is currently the most dangerous city in America. No exaggeration. The violent crime rate here is 2,300 per 100,000 residents, which is more than 5 times the national average. In 2024, Memphis recorded 302 homicides, a record high. That means if you live here, you're more likely to be a victim of violent crime than in Los Angeles, Chicago, or even Baltimore. Home break-ins, carjackings, and shootings have become an everyday reality. But maybe the economy makes up for it? Nope. Memphis ranks among the poorest large cities in the U.S., with over 24% of its residents living below the poverty line. The median household income is just $43,000, which is significantly lower than the national average of $74,000. Finding high-paying jobs is tough, and many young professionals are leaving for Atlanta, Nashville, or Dallas for better opportunities. Infrastructure is another major issue. Roads are crumbling, public transportation is unreliable, and the school system is one of the worst in the country. The city has a graduation rate of just 78%, meaning nearly 1 in 4 students don't finish high school. For families, this is a deal breaker. But wait, Memphis is a cultural hub, right? Yes, but only for tourists. Beale Street is iconic, and Graceland attracts thousands of Elvis fans, but ask any local, and they'll tell you they avoid downtown after dark. Plus, major events like the Memphis in May Festival have seen declining attendance because of safety concerns. So, who's actually staying in Memphis? Mostly those who can't afford to leave. The people with options, they're leaving fast. In 2024, Memphis was ranked in the top 10 U.S. cities people were fleeing. If crime doesn't go down and job opportunities don't go up, Memphis might soon become a ghost town with great music. Number 6. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Now, Virginia Beach is an interesting case. Unlike some of the other cities on this list, it's not crime-ridden or suffering from extreme weather. In fact, it's one of the safest big cities in the U.S. So why is it still struggling? Because it's too boring for young people and too expensive for retirees. Virginia Beach is the largest city in Virginia, covering 497 square miles. That's bigger than New Orleans, Kansas City, or even Las Vegas. But despite its size, the population is just 457,000, and it's barely growing. From 2020 to 2024, the city's population grew by just 0.2% per year, while cities like Austin, Texas, grew by over 2.5% annually. So, what's keeping people away? The cost of living is ridiculous. The median home price is $421,000, which is more expensive than the national average. And while salaries in the area are decent, they're not high enough to justify the cost. The average income here is $62,000, but after taxes and housing costs, many people can't afford to live comfortably. Another issue? Lack of entertainment. Virginia Beach is a military-heavy city with a large population of Navy personnel. While that brings economic stability, it also means the nightlife and cultural scene are practically non-existent. Young professionals looking for excitement are choosing places like Charlotte, Raleigh, or even Washington, D.C. instead. And what about retirees? They're skipping Virginia Beach for Florida, Arizona, or the Carolinas because those states offer better tax incentives. Virginia has a 5.75% state income tax, while Florida has 0 state income tax. When retirees look at their options, they realize their money stretches way further in a place like Tampa or Myrtle Beach. With young people leaving for better opportunities and retirees choosing cheaper destinations, Virginia Beach is stuck in an awkward middle ground. It's not a bad place to live, but it's just not competitive enough to attract new residents. Unless it finds a way to lower housing costs and spice up its entertainment scene, it might just become a city that people visit, but don't stay. Number 5. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma, known for its oil boom history and charming Art Deco architecture, might seem like a quaint place to live. But it's also one of the cities that has seen a steady population decline over the past few years. In fact, Tulsa has lost about 15,000 residents in the last decade. What's behind this exodus? The truth is, Tulsa is a city caught between the past and the present, and its struggles with modern-day appeal are starting to show. For starters, let's talk about economic opportunities. While Tulsa has made strides in diversifying its economy, it still relies heavily on industries like energy and manufacturing, which aren't growing as fast as tech, healthcare, or finance. The average income in Tulsa is just about $50,000, which is well below the national average of $74,000. This makes it tough for young professionals to stay in the area when they could easily find better-paying jobs in places like Dallas or Denver. In fact, in 2024, Tulsa's unemployment rate was 5.2%, which is higher than the national average of 3.9%. Then there's the issue of quality of life. While Tulsa has a low cost of living, it also lacks many of the amenities and attractions that might draw in new residents. Yes, it's home to the Philbrook Museum of Art, but many young people are seeking the vibrant arts and cultural scenes that cities like Austin or Portland have to offer. Tulsa's downtown area is often described as dead after 6 p.m., and with fewer entertainment options, it's not surprising that residents are looking to larger, more exciting cities. Furthermore, the city is also grappling with a high crime rate. In 2023, St. Louis had a higher violent crime rate, but Tulsa isn't far behind. The city's violent crime rate is over 900 per 100,000 residents, which makes it more dangerous than cities like Atlanta and Indianapolis. With so much uncertainty in the economy and safety concerns, it's no surprise that Tulsa isn't at the top of anyone's list. Number 4. Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville is known as Music City, famous for its vibrant country music scene and rich cultural history. However, this once thriving city has been struggling with growing pains over the last decade. What's surprising is that while Nashville's population continues to grow, it's not because people are flocking there for the lifestyle. It's because the city is facing a wave of challenges that residents are finding harder and harder to ignore. Start with the cost of living. In recent years, Nashville has seen its housing prices skyrocket. In 2020, the average home price was around $250,000. By 2025, that number has soared to $380,000, making it significantly more expensive than cities like Houston and Phoenix. For young professionals looking to buy a house, Nashville has become increasingly unaffordable, with monthly rents averaging $1,500 for a one-bedroom apartment. In a city where the median household income is just around $60,000, that's not exactly a sustainable situation. Next up is traffic congestion, which has become notorious in Nashville. The city's growth has outpaced the development of its infrastructure, and the result? Endless traffic jams and hours spent in gridlock. Nashville's roads are clogged with commuters from suburban areas, and the average commute time for residents has climbed to an eye-watering 30 minutes, and it's only getting worse. That's a tough pill to swallow when the city doesn't have an efficient public transit system to rely on. Then there's the disappearing character of the city. As developers pour money into building luxury condos and massive commercial projects, many locals feel that Nashville is slowly losing the charm that once made it unique. The gentrification of neighborhoods is pushing out longtime residents, particularly those who have been living in areas like East Nashville, which has been one of the fastest gentrifying neighborhoods in the U.S. Longtime residents find themselves priced out of their own communities, while newcomers flood in looking for the next big opportunity. Number 3. Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida, with its beautiful beaches and year-round sunshine, sounds like a dream destination. But in 2025, it's facing some serious issues that are keeping people from sticking around. While the city's population has grown in recent years, it hasn't grown nearly as fast as cities like Orlando or Miami, and there are reasons why. The first big issue is job opportunities. Unlike Miami, which has a booming tech scene, or Orlando, which is the home of Disney and a hub for tourism, Jacksonville struggles to diversify its economy. Most of the city's job growth is in low-wage sectors, with the median household income of just $54,000, which is well below the national average. Jacksonville's unemployment rate in 2024 was around 5.3%, higher than many other Florida cities. The lack of high-paying job opportunities is causing many residents to look elsewhere for better career prospects. Another issue is the cost of housing. While Jacksonville's housing prices aren't as high as places like Miami, they've been steadily climbing. In the past 5 years, the median home price has risen by about 30%, reaching $335,000 in 2025. When you compare that to the average household income, many residents find themselves struggling to keep up with rising costs. For many people, renting is the only affordable option, but even that comes with its own set of challenges. Average monthly rent in Jacksonville for a one-bedroom apartment is around $1,300, which is high for a city that doesn't have the same economic opportunities as its southern counterparts. Let's also talk about public services. While Jacksonville is a large city, it still lacks the infrastructure and public amenities to make it attractive to young professionals and families. The city's public transportation system is limited, and the education system often gets poor reviews. Jacksonville's high school graduation rate is only 82%, lower than the national average of 87%. Additionally, the city has one of the highest crime rates in Florida, with violent crime rates consistently above the national average. For all its beauty and sunny weather, Jacksonville is struggling to compete with other Florida cities. Until it can improve its job market, raise wages, and address its public service issues, many of its residents may continue to look elsewhere for better opportunities. Number 2. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, has long been known as the biggest small town in America. But in 2025, it feels more like a city that's trying to find its true identity. Once a thriving hub for industries like energy, aerospace, and agriculture, the city has faced growing challenges that have made it less attractive to potential residents. While Oklahoma City still offers affordable living compared to larger cities like Dallas or Denver, the reality is that residents are becoming disillusioned with the city's lack of modern amenities and infrastructure that other cities in the region have managed to develop. One of the primary issues facing Oklahoma City is its underdeveloped public transportation system. Unlike places like Austin or Portland, which have embraced sustainable transportation options, Oklahoma City still relies heavily on cars, and that means traffic congestion and long commute times. The average commute time in Oklahoma City is around 26 minutes, which may not sound like much, but combined with limited options for public transport, it feels like a significant inconvenience for residents who need to drive everywhere. In fact, the city has been criticized for its lack of walkability, which makes it difficult for residents to access basic amenities without a car. Another factor contributing to the city's challenges is its housing market. While homes are still relatively affordable, the median home price is around $240,000, the market has experienced slow growth compared to the national average. The city's economy, once driven by the energy sector, has faced turbulence in recent years, and that's left many residents without the job opportunities they need to build long-term financial security. With an unemployment rate hovering around 4.2% in 2024, many workers in Oklahoma City are finding it hard to secure well-paying positions, especially in industries outside of energy and agriculture. Oklahoma City also struggles to retain its younger population. Many college graduates are leaving for cities with stronger job markets, more cultural opportunities, and better overall quality of life. The median age in Oklahoma City is 36 years, which is higher than the national average, indicating a lack of younger people moving in. For millennials and younger generations, Oklahoma City doesn't offer the lifestyle they're seeking, especially in terms of vibrant nightlife, diverse cultural experiences, and arts communities. Until Oklahoma City invests in public infrastructure, boosts its job market in more diverse sectors, and becomes more attractive to younger residents, it will likely continue to struggle with a slow population decline and the challenges of holding on to the talent it desperately needs to thrive in the 21st century. Number 1. Anchorage, Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska, with its dramatic landscapes and breathtaking views of the northern lights, might seem like the perfect escape for nature lovers. However, in 2025, Anchorage finds itself facing a perfect storm of isolation, high living costs, and economic stagnation that has made it less appealing to new residents. Despite its natural beauty, the city's remote location and harsh weather conditions make it one of the least popular places to live in the U.S. One of the most significant factors contributing to the city's struggles is the high cost of living. Anchorage's housing market is notorious for its outrageous prices. The median home price in Anchorage is approximately $390,000, much higher than the national average of $320,000. This makes it challenging for residents to afford homes, especially when the median household income is around $74,000, not enough to comfortably afford the soaring prices. Renting isn't much better, with one-bedroom apartments averaging around $1,500 per month, and the city's rental market is becoming even more competitive. Then there's the issue of isolation. Anchorage is far removed from major metropolitan areas, with the nearest major city being Seattle, which is over 2,000 miles away. While some residents may enjoy the peace and tranquility of life in such a remote area, the lack of access to cultural events, shopping, and entertainment can make Anchorage feel incredibly isolated, especially for younger generations. Additionally, limited public transportation makes it difficult for people without cars to get around, forcing residents to rely on their vehicles even more. This lack of mobility only adds to the feeling of being trapped in the middle of nowhere. To make matters worse, economic opportunities are limited. While Anchorage is home to the oil industry, its reliance on fossil fuels has left the city vulnerable to fluctuating oil prices. The Alaska Permanent Fund, a fund designed to help support the state's residents, has been under pressure in recent years, leading to budget cuts in key services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Unemployment in Anchorage hovers around 5%, which is relatively high for a city that is so dependent on specific industries. As a result, many young professionals are leaving Anchorage for better opportunities elsewhere in the U.S. Lastly, let's talk about the weather. Anchorage's freezing temperatures, with winter months averaging below 20 degrees Fahrenheit and snowfall of over 70 inches per year, can be a major deterrent for those not used to extreme cold. It's a beautiful city, no doubt, but the winter darkness and harsh conditions can make it difficult for residents to feel motivated to live their best lives, especially with the constant reminder that it's isolated from the rest of the country. Despite its natural beauty, life in Anchorage just isn't for everyone.